Hey everyone, welcome to the Guiding You Forward podcast presented by Mountain America Credit Union. Today we're talking about money, of course, as we usually do, but money and happiness. And thankfully, Robert Steed is here with us. Hi, Robert.
Hello.
So, money and happiness. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
I've heard you use like the hows of happiness. What does that mean?
This is one of the funnest things to study and to share with people, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm so glad you asked about this. It might seem counterintuitive, but one of the first and most powerful things that you can do to bring about happiness and actually diminish a lot of dissonance and feel very rewarded with the way that you're managing your funds is to plan to give some of them away.
Okay.
Research has shown across the world. One of the best books I've ever read actually about money is called Happy Money, The Science of Buying Happiness,
Okay.
by some researchers named Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton.
Okay.
And they researched in Ghana and other third world countries, all the way up to Canada and the United States, first everywhere in between, 132 countries they surveyed. And they found across the board that if you make a choice to give, that's one of the key things. If you make a choice to give in a way that makes an impact on somebody's life and strengthens a connection, especially if you know somebody,
Yeah.
especially, that it had the same impact on happiness as doubling somebody's income.
What?
Yeah. It even had physical effects. It lowered people's blood pressure, giving. It showed to do that. It helped people manage their own money better. It's called a principle of scarcity. It almost tricks your mind. If I've got enough to give away, then I obviously have enough for myself. And people managed their money better. They were happier. They had physical effects. They slept better. It's amazing the power of giving on financial satisfaction and success.
Okay. So to be happy with our finances, we just need to give it. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously not all of it. No.
Okay.
But some of it, and whatever you can, kind of a thing, right?
Okay.
With what's left, there are some other tips and tricks, I suppose, if you're thinking about happiness, is that when we make purchases of things, it's easily comparable, right?
Yeah.
People like to buy TVs before they watch the Super Bowl.
Of course.
Yeah, got to get a new TV. It's got to be bigger, higher definition.
Yes, we have to see those commercials,
Yeah,
Robert.
exactly. And the sales all tell you that you need to do the same thing, right? And we get in that circumstance, we buy a TV, and then a week later, because now it's even closer to the Super Bowl and they're trying to get excess stock out, the price drops even more, and now it's easy to compare, right? Oh, I made a mistake. It's not easy to compare experiences. And so research has also shown that purchasing experiences, you're technically, when you think about it, a vacation with family, driving across Nevada to California, it's just throwing your money away. You're not getting any return on your investment,
Right.
other than memories. But what happens is that those aren't comparable. That those experiences create those memories, which later, as you're reflecting on them, create nostalgia, which research has shown brings back the same, it's called salience, the same effect as when you're actually experiencing it. Sometimes even better, because your brain has a tendency to eliminate threats, right? We were talking about that. And so the further you get away, you tend to forget the arguments in the car along the way, and you just start to remember the positives. And so purchasing experiences, adventure, so to speak, right? New things. And again, making those connections with people has been shown to also contribute significantly to happiness when you're using your money that way.
Okay, perfect. So we are giving some of our money away and we're focusing on experiences. Any other tips you have for us with happiness and money?
One final thing, I guess, would be to be able to manage those situations. It's not maybe the way you're using your money, but it's the way that you are controlling your circumstances when you're needing to use money, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So when you do find yourself in either a threatening situation or you're finding yourself getting overly, stimulated, so to speak, to make the purchase, it's really good if you've got some sort of technique to allow the rational brain to kick in. This decision-making process, it happens in milliseconds. But the emotional brain, it makes decisions much more quicker than the rational one. To calm yourself in that situation, especially with finances, you see the 401k balance dipping, you're feeling threatened because the sale's going to end. There are some techniques. One technique is it's called the 4 R's.
Okay.
And so how this starts is you recognize first. You recognize what's going on, and this is everything. What's my body doing? Am I sitting here staring at Amazon with my legs going up and down? I'm obviously feeling anxious. What's happening to my body? What's happening to my mind? You recognize all of that stuff. And then it causes you to reflect. So you reflect back on your values. Okay, here's what I'm experiencing. Here's my top 5 values. Obviously something's off here. What's going on? Can I connect what I'm feeling to what I want in life? And that process allows you to then reframe. One of my favorite quotes with regards to reframing is from Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
He said, "I thought about changing my shirt, but decided to change my mind instead." So,
okay.
Context for that. The reason I like it so much is I had an experience once where I was sitting in a meeting and I was wearing a suit. And at the end of the meeting, this older woman who was also in this meeting turned around to say hello to me. And she smiled and she said, "Oh, I see you've got your dad's suit on." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And she pointed at my shoulder. And I had my son Benjamin. He was 2 at the time. And one of Benjamin's favorite things to do was to eat something, ask for me to pick him up, and then wipe his face on my shoulder. One of my favorite things that he did too.
Of course.
Had I noticed that before I went to this meeting, I would have changed my shirt. I would have changed my suit, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that looks horrible. But I changed my mind instead. As soon as that woman said that, I thought, yeah, this shows that I'm holding my kids. I'm a dad. I love that concept, right?
Yeah.
You reframe, you make this moment momentary and you put it into a greater context. Yeah, I'm feeling nervous right now. The sale's going to end. But honestly, right now, I don't see how this aligns with what I want to do. And I can see, I remember, this has gone on sale every 2 weeks. There's a chance I can wait, right? We reframe it.
Okay.
And then we respond. So you recognize, you reflect, you reframe, and then you respond. And that allows you to make sure that your financial behavior is in line with your values in those stressful times.
And we change our mind to not change our shirt.
Yeah, that's exactly
I love
right.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah.